All right. Hey guys, 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. Here we are Sunday night, and we now have Invest97L. That's this area here in the northwestern Caribbean. It's starting to get a little bit better organized. Still a ton of convection. The center is actually way over here to the west of where you see this big area convection. The center is actually over here. And there's this tropical depression 10 over here in the eastern Pacific, which is coming towards the east, which you don't typically see at that latitude all the time. But that one is going to, I think that will actually supply some moisture for this. And in about 3 days, that moisture will be filling over into the southern Gulf. So it's something to watch. But this is, anyways, this is the one that we're keeping an eye on right now. And because it now has an invest, we're actually running all the models on, as you can imagine. The Hurricane Center, they are up to 80% chance for this development. You can see where they've got this red area hatched here, moving into the eastern Gulf of Mexico. The center is right there off the coast. Barely. It's right there on the coast, okay? All that convection's out here to the right side. Most of the convection's out here. Center is sitting right in here. So that's got to get adjusted a little bit. But the thinking is it's kind of done something like this. The thinking is it might go like this and then kind of come back up, right? So let's talk about that. Well, no, let me back up. Let me show you something else here. Forecast models. So here we go. This is the European version. And the European version is actually a little bit more on the right side here, right? The Panhandle, the Big Bend. If you look at the GFS model is, well, it's got a really good spread. I mean, really good spread, although it's generally thinking somewhere up in here in the Panhandle. All right. So those are kind of the areas to look at. Here's what I was talking about before, where the center has gone. And it's very rough estimate, right? Because it's not very well organized. But we think the center is somewhere right in this area right here. Now, let's talk about the forecast models. Now, what you're looking at here, I'm going to go and show you total density. So this is basically the European, the GFS, the UK Met. I think the Canadians in here. Yes, the Canadians in here as well. And all of their ensemble runs. So like each model run a bunch of different times where they tweak a little bit in the model, and they do that for all of those models. And then this is Tomerberg. This is a great site. What this is doing is it's highlighting this area where the majority of the models thinks it's headed. Okay, we're going to get more spaghetti plots coming in on it now that it's been an invest, right? So you'll be able to see all the models compared. But that is kind of the thinking right now of the models. That's a good way to be able to look at it and say, okay, so if you're in that Big Bend area, well, not even there. If you're over towards Tallahassee, really, Perry, you want to keep an eye on it. Now, this is the timing. So we're thinking Thursday night landfallish. Way too early in time really to get into this, but if you're planning rain Thursday, Friday, Florida, and then landfall perhaps Thursday night up in the Panhandle, you can see the first 72 hours actually pretty good agreement, moderate confidence. But after that, it gets lower. So we're not in the point right now where we're doing quite forecasting yet. This is the forecast models, though, the SHIPS model for intensity, and it's got it to Cat 3. Right? It's got, the models are suggesting that we could certainly get there. In fact, let's get the forecast of the intensity models. You see this? That's Cat 3 up here. Now, look, that's just one of the models. That's the SHIPS model itself. Others are less than that. But again, just starting to get runs in on this. So this will be showing up a little bit more here over the next several days. And we'll be tracking it. So you can see where it is now and where the model thing is going to go a little further to the north and then turn northwest. All of this is huge because if it doesn't, the further west it goes, the further west it can end up going. If it doesn't go west, it will end up basically doing a little more. All right, let's talk about the GFS forecast model. Again, just one run. This is going to change in 6 hours, right, when the next run comes out. But let's show you the thinking now, and we'll keep going through these over the next several days. So this right now is 2 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. Just starting to see some rain in South Florida. Okay, that is 11 p.m. Wednesday night. Showers and storms coming through. Some of this could be heavy. Some of that could have a tornado threat starting Wednesday night. This is Thursday morning sunrise, and that is a tornado threat for Florida, for the peninsula. Heavy rainfall. I don't want to say Debbie because I know we had tons of rain, but this is a similar situation to Debbie, although it looks like it would be even further offshore. So we just have to see how much we get. And then there it goes. It's got a strong hurricane making landfall. That is 8 p.m. Thursday evening up towards the western panhandle. All right, and then moving to the northeast, falling apart. All right, let's talk about the European. So here's the European forecast model. It's a little further to the west, at least initially. This right here is 2 p.m. on Wednesday. And then you can see most of the heaviest rain staying offshore, but the center gets a little bit closer. This is, what are we looking at here? 11 a.m. on Thursday. And there it's got landfall at 8 p.m. Thursday, more closer to the Big Bend area. Not far off from the GFS. But remember, the right side of the storm is what we call the dirty side, right? That's got more weather with it. And we'll be on that side. So let me back this up and let's talk wind, because most of this wind, if it held this track, most of this wind, I don't want that. Most of this wind would end up, or the highest wind, I should say, would end up offshore. So again, this is the European forecast model. So southeast winds blowing offshore, right? We'll get some swell from it for sure. But this is 8 a.m. on Thursday. Winds in the Tampa area blowing in the teens and 20s out of the southeast. But then it really, Thursday night, you know, it's going to get windy along the coast for sure. We just don't know exactly, right? That's the European version of it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the wind for the GFS. Oh, we just get a new one coming in. We did not get the data for that. Let's back it up one. So southeast winds for the peninsula, which is good for surge because that blows water offshore. But then there will be a surge. They'll be higher than normal tides, especially as we get into Thursday night. That's Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. Winds out of the south starting to come back in the southwest. That's when the water's really going to come up. But you can see the highest winds are up here where that landfall will be. Okay, so that's what we're looking at right now. I should show you this. This is crazy. There's that tropical depression I was talking about, and you can see the forecast models just kind of take it falls apart, moves over land, but that's going to throw a little bit of extra moisture into it. So things are starting to take shape. I think we would end up getting potentially a cone. I mean, we have to get a depression or just straight to a storm, but I think we could get a tropical depression within the next 24 hours, probably sometime tomorrow afternoon. It's kind of tough to tell. We'll keep an eye on it. Once that happens, we'll get a track from the Hurricane Center, and we'll have more of what you would typically see like a cone. All right, guys, that's it. Sunday evening. I hope you're enjoying the rest of the weekend. I will see you on TV tomorrow.